on Signature TV. So we are switching gears right now. We're going to be talking about the proposed protest that is due March 1st. That's in a couple of days' time. Today's already the 18th of February. How time flies, really. I mean, the other day, my colleague was talking about Valentine, and I don't know how the Valentine was for her. If she actually did well with it. How was it?
It was. I have no words to express how the day went, honestly, because I spent most of the time at the office, so I can't really tell. I didn't really enjoy myself that much.
I'm shocked that you didn't enjoy yourself that much because you promoted it so much that it felt like you actually had two guys waiting.
I mean, it's something that youths have been anticipating over the years. It's something that happens once in a year, and I was really anticipating, but my expectations were cut short, and we give God the glory. I don't know about you, Charles. I don't know about you, and I hope you had fun as well.
Well, fun is relative because if you're at work, you are also
Having fun.
commemorating it and having fun. So we have with us live in the studio is Comrade Peter Nwiwu, is the vice chairman and
No. Auditor.
auditor. Okay, you're the auditor of NLC, right? In Enugu.
Yeah.
All right, auditor. Good to have you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
coming into the studio. I mean, we understand there's protesters that'll be up on March 1st. Has it been settled that you guys are protesting? Because again, there are a whole lot of things that the Labour Party, not Labour Party now, Labour have said they would do and they didn't do. They said they will go on a particular strike, and by 12 midnight of the day before, after the meeting, they call off the strike. So sometimes when Nigerians hear these things, they don't take it seriously anymore.
All right, let me start from what you said about Labour, promising to go on strike, and maybe at the end of the day, they don't go. Now, one thing you have to understand is that Labour is not there to fight government. Rather, Labour is to fight the ills of government, the necessities of government. Now, if Labour proposes a strike, it means they want to argue out something. And then government on the other side may invite them for discussion. Then there's no need going on the strike again. You have to obey and go into the discussion. And so discussion is the one about this hike in telecommunications now. When they unfortunately increase the price of communications, so when Labour had it, we proposed a demonstration. Then, just like you said, in the night, the government now waded in to settle the two parties. And then, from that meeting, it was agreed that a committee of 10 members would be set to look into the increment. And then the telecommunication were asked to stay action on the hike, on the increment, until the outcome of that committee's report. But then sadly, when this agreement was made, then Labour has to, soft pedal, and they postpone the demonstration, only to come out the next day when the committee was still meeting. Then the telecommunications now activated the increment immediately. So that is exactly why Labour have taken the step to give them more time again, because Labour, in as much as that committee has been formed, Labour is still abiding by the tenets of that committee, of the government, and the agreement that everything should be stayed until the outcome of that committee. So, and then that committee is still sitting. That is why we have given up to March 1. So if between now and the 28th of February, the end of this February, then that the people did not revise the price of the communications back to its normal situation, then we have no other alternative than embark on total clampdown on those telecommunications networks. So, and I want to tell you that you know, for some time now, there have been hike. Last time there was hike in petroleum, and then when we want to do something like you said, government will come in. But the funny thing sometimes is that sometimes if the price of fuel is 500 naira and government want to increase the price, just may mention I want to increase the price, every person will adjust immediately. But though it has not been happening in the country for some time now, but I know in the past, sometimes you see these things coming down. And immediately they announce things are coming down, bam, they will change. I know they will resist the new price coming down until they finish their product. So that is why, I don't know, in the country, a lot of things are going on. And labor, that is why it seems that labor is crying every day. Because the poor masses are beaten every day.
But it looks like the labor is handicapped. It's like you guys don't know what else to do anymore. Like you just mentioned again that you guys were deceived. There was a meeting that was supposed to be held, and just in that meeting, the meeting has not even concluded, and they went and did the increment. Same thing that happened with this minimum wage thing. There was a negotiations between the leadership of NLC and the president. And then just when they were negotiating, the president said, look, if you want to stick to 250,000 naira as minimum wage, just know that it's the prices of fuel will go above 1,005. But in this country, we have bought fuel for 1,006 in so many places. And then it looks like the government always maneuvers you guys. He always deceives you people, and you guys accept it. And that's why most people think that the NLC or even the TUC and these labor unions are toothless bulldogs. You guys can't do anything. I mean, the other day, look at the way that Joe Ajero was even harassed at the airport. And sometimes you are subservient to whatever it is that they throw at you. You can't really do anything. So isn't that the true cause of what labor is about? They say the labor of today right now isn't what it used to be. The labor has lost its spine. It's no longer the labor we used to know. When labor comes and speak about something, and governments, begin to quiver. But it's no longer what it used to be anymore. Isn't that true?
What I will tell you in that one is that in the past, we have leaders who have come to, do their work as leaders of the country. But today, what we have today in the highest echelon of governance in the country are just hijackers.
Hijackers?
Hijackers. I have to use that word. When somebody knows the plight of the people, everything will be according to the constitution. But when you see a government that doesn't care about fundamental human rights, so the only thing that would have been, like you say, for handicapped, we are not armed and we cannot go to war. The only thing is that whatever it is for labor to do to make sure that things are corrected, we'll do it. But the government we have today are the government that doesn't have that conscience. Because why I'm saying this is that now we're talking about this. From this, another one will spring up. So a government who have really come to do the work, because government is to take care of protection of life and property of the citizenry. But what we see now is that, I don't know what I would say they are taking care of. When you are telling them anything, they are doing what they want to do. They have police, they have army. Sometimes when we want to demonstrate, they will use police, they will use army to clamp down on labor. They will threat. And once it's getting to that level, you find out that people will ordinarily expect that maybe labor will fight back. But how do you fight back than what we are doing, the peaceful demonstrations will do? So I just believe that, particularly this one now, that is not government particularly, unless if government just masked themselves, if there are some government mask within the communication. But otherwise, these are private companies. And then if government will allow them to unswitch and twist the people of this country, then you know that we cannot get it right again.
Before diving into the whole strike thing, how effective have labor strikes been influencing the Nigerian government in order to modify or reverse the tariff hikes?
Well, just like I've been saying, I know that during the time of power in the power sector, so there was also a very high level of increment in the units of electricity. Labor went in, and then as if, okay, that time they brought it down. But just like you said, on the other way around, they now segregated the power levels, that where you now have band A, band B, band C, band D. So these are the things governments are doing. And most of all those things, we can only follow it in the constitutional way that labor does things. We don't need to go there and fight physically. We only do our normal thing. But just like I said in the past, when you do such things, the government will now rethink and make choice of whether you want the country to go into coerce, or maybe we can settle this in a round table. But what we have today is that they will promise that it's going to be looked into. And when you turn back, they will begin to do another thing. And that's why it seems we are talking every day. Because they are doing every day, we are talking every day. It's not that what we are doing has not been having effect. I want to tell you, if there's nothing like labor, by now, they would have even the free air that we breathe would have been taxed. After all, you had them then saying that let the poor breathe. So, which means they can also legislate on how the poor will breathe.
Okay, so but actually, in what ways can the labor union improve their strategies to minimize disruptions to the economic while still advocating for fair tariffs in the country?
Well, the labor unions, naturally, if it were where things are going well, the government should bring labor into the picture of anything that has to do with the citizens. Which is why we also say that it's not that people cannot increase prices, but when you bring labor, then labor will know where it will get so hard on the people, because there are people that are wearing the shoe, so they know where it pinches. So there are the people that will give that part of advice, not that you will not increase. So that when you increase, then it will be moderate for both parties. So, and that's what we have been doing all along. But the thing is that the government have been paying deaf ear to the advice that Labour have been given on running of the economy. You saw last time, Labour advised that refineries in Nigeria should be maintained. So that we don't talk about all those things. But we'll do what we're supposed to do. But the government will promise they'll do that, but have they done it up to today?
Right. So what mode will this strike take, or the protest take? Because I understand that Labour has also said that Nigerians should boycott the telecommunications. Is that an alternative to the boycott? Because if you're asking me to boycott as a way to exert pressure on the telecommunication network to either reverse what they have done, you should provide an alternative. What should I be like if I stop using the data I'm using? Am I going to what's going to happen to me? Because I will need it to work. if I'm doing business, I will need it to work. If I'm doing if I'm sending information to somebody, I will need it to work. When you say boycott, I want to know the mode of what the Labour is asking Nigerians to do.
It's as simple as this. And this is exactly why we are all in the hole. Because like you said now, let me start like this. sometimes when we organize strike, after 2 days, people will be clamoring, please, you should call off the strike. People are dying of hunger. We are dying of hunger. There's no motor to go to market. We cannot go to Oboete and access food. People will die. So that is it. Now we are talking about using data every day. But now, can't we sacrifice one day just to get what we want? Because whether you like it or not, if you allow them, the way they will do it, I assure you, in 10 days, you may not be able to buy a data to use in 10 days. If we allow things to go like that. So, Labour, at times, you expect us to do a lot of things. But this time around, we carry the fight also to the doorstep of every person. Let us all join hands. If every person boycott data, boycott call for one day, I'm telling you, these networks will come back to their knees.
You think it's even possible?
That is where it's the problem. So when you blame Labour, then ourselves as individuals, how have we tried to, put our own, voice? Your voice is that action I want you to do. Just give us one day and you see what will happen. Because I know that these people pack a lot of billions every day. So if they lose $1 billion in 2 days that are not going to come back, because these ones are not things that can come back tomorrow. Maybe you hold it tomorrow, you give them. The call for today have gone. Tomorrow, there's another one to do. So it's difficult for people, and we still want to urge Nigerians. At least what we said is that maybe even if it is 6 hours, we drop our phones. I believe it will help us. And these things are things that will be done before that 1st of March. So that when these things are done that way, by that 1st of March, when we move to those companies, now people will now have something that will aggravate their anger to support Labour. Because if you see that maybe there is a call that you would have made the other day that would have earned you some money and you cut it because of these guys. Now that we want to come openly, so every person, you see a situation where people will even be alighting from their vehicles to join Labour, whatever they are doing. And until we get to that level, the government have known that it's like Labour is just a segment of its own, that even the people don't support them. Because when we move, the people will say, don't come back, we are going to die. And government is happy with that. And that's why every time they will do something. But if people can disprove government one day and they join, if after all, government, if we now begin to, every person comes out, you see that government are just few people. How can those few people win the whole masses? So that's the irony of the whole thing.
So in what way exactly that can the public support the success of this labor strikes against the government? In what way can the public actually support in order to aid this strike to be successful and the voices to be heard?
Right now, the ball is in the court of every person. This is a demonstration against the communication networks, not even government now. So Labour has asked the people one thing: let us just stop buying data for so time, between this time and this time, and even calls.
From now to the 1st of March?
Not that you just, they say every morning, let's say from, if we don't make calls, we don't buy data, let's say from morning till evening.
Okay.
Or let every person give himself. Even, let's say if Nigerians decide to boycott this network for 4 hours a day, it will affect them seriously.
It will.
It will affect them seriously. And by then they will be thinking that maybe these people may have plan to even incorporate other networks to come and take over, because we have a global market in most of all these things. So any person can come tomorrow. If it were where things are going well, Nigerians can say we don't want this one, and some people will go and bring another one. and first those ones who go along with our terms, and we move.
Okay.
All right. It's quite interesting that you're put it that way, that again, Nigerians may not be willing to join in the protest, given that it is something that also affects them. You have mentioned that, look, that sometimes it's also handicapping for Labour to embark on some of these projects, because most Nigerians will not support you at the end of the day. When you call for boycotts, people will not necessarily boycott. You can't stop me from buying data from the network. I don't think I will want to stay 6 hours, without touching my phone or sending messages. We understand those things. But are there any other way at all, beyond boycotting? Are there any other ways beyond boycotting? Because people's lives sometimes depend on these data. So if you boycott it, what's the alternative? So you're going to stall people's businesses, stall people's lives, just because of some of these protests, which again we know that can be resolved. Beyond the discussions that have been made and beyond the deceits, of course, that you have also stated that happened, are there any other ways that Labour can get the result that they seek?
No, right as it is now, we're not saying that we'll not get this result. Because actually, when things are happening, there are some certain things you overlook. Then you have given room for every other thing to grow. Now this network, telecommunication, so if we cannot get them now to follow the right direction, it means that there's virtually nothing in Nigeria you can control again. So that is why, in as much as we are appealing to the public to join us this time around, but we know that at the end of the day, this is a fight we can win, because we are justified. Even if the government comes in, you just gave 70,000 naira minimum wage, and then within the 70,000 naira minimum wage, a lot of things have increased.
True.
And now communication is increasing. This morning I read, yesterday I read where Central Bank is also trying to increase the money for ATM.
Yes.
ATM
for every transaction.
For every transaction, whereby even if you want to withdraw 10,000 now in a POS, you may end up paying 10% of the money in commission.
Exactly. So
now, and things like that. So if things continue to go like that, and that is where we ask ourselves, the problem we have is that we are waiting for, it will be, no, this one is not as serious as the other, it's not as serious as the other. But one day, even the rich will cry. And which is what we don't want. So that's why at least every Nigerian know what to do to support Labour. We're not asking of money. This is not a thing of money. It's not a thing of weapon. It's a thing of putting your voice. Before now, some elder statesmen, some high-level clergies, when we begin such movement, they will go in and, persuade the government to listen to this voice. But today, like I said, the government will have, I don't know whether even those people are free to do those things.
All right. We just have to leave it there, comrades, because of time. But I want to appreciate you and keep an eye on what's going to come on March 1st. I understand that it's across the country. Each state would find its modus operandi on how it works. But we want to appreciate you and wish you all good luck with that, so that we can have a reduced amount for data. I mean, I'm speaking as a Nigerian, because I mean, if you succeed, it means I will pay less.
Exactly.
Well, thank you again for coming. We truly appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Save Nature TV. News in your pocket.